We hear her. I am with you, she sings. I am with you through the water, under the water, in the birthing, in the forgetting, in the terror and at the heart of what you most fear. I am with you. Through the long, dark night of every absence, I am with you. Therefore, fear not.
I'll go directly, I'll say a drop of water, blah, 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 etc. Yeah. Very nice. Was that good?
Does that work?
Does that work?
Yeah.
It's good.
Can I play one?
I was so excited. I love those things. I think when you come see it lighten up.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I forgive me. It worked. Now I see it. I get it. It
yeah,
works.
yeah.
It's very appropriate. Thank you, Connie. Yeah,
Oh,
it
very
works.
good. Yes.
So,
Because the speaking is very long, 10
no, but
comparatively.
she's so emotional.
Yeah,
It's
very.
such a
Yeah.
beautiful reader.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have music to disturb.
No,
like, not to
I
disturb.
think that's very appropriate. Okay, great.
All right. So
You want to do it again? Are you okay?
we should do it again.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Do you want to do the one first? Oh yeah, we have time.
Yeah.
What
I
time
guess
do we have
no
to
more.
leave here?
There's just Patria. She's not here, right? Just
Is Patria here? Patria? Okay.
So, okay, we do. Can you give us the instruction?
Yes, absolutely. Just let me get my computer. It will be on my phone. I just need to edit it. Okay, so we're doing the second one on the program. Tonight, we're very honored to have Japanese writer Joy Kagawa, who made a video of herself reading an excerpt from the prologue of Gently to Nagasaki. But, it was okay? Yeah? But first, we'll hear a beautiful Sakura lullaby from Japan with Teresa Soon on harp, Alice Ho on piano, and Chan Kanin on guitar.
My name is Joy Kagawa, and I'm here to talk about Gently to Nagasaki.
So we'll just go to the end of that, skip along. Come on. And then as I talk, feel free to set whatever place away, and then we'll go to the drop of water, right? And that will include the two of us. Yeah, I don't think you need any info. It's pretty
It's
self-explanatory.
on the program, right?
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Who else needs a rehearsal? One more. Are the dancers here? I think I see you guys. It's really dark. Sorry. Do you guys want to come up? How's it going? So I'm going to be the MC. Shaquille, cool. Shaylin, I want to make sure I get your names correct.
So this part you mean?
Is that how you want to do this released, or I was gonna use Shaylin. Yeah, I was gonna get instructions with both of my full names. I can always edit it. Ooh, there's stuff on the floor. Yeah, so here's this is Sean, who's one of the instrumentalists. Yeah, is that gonna be a problem for your dance?
We'll just have to mind Jesse.
Like around there, but like we'll just go further.
Okay, cool. You guys?
I won't hold you up, but our predicament is that we're gonna be on right off the top and we have this stuff. Now, there's two things. We can leave it there and you can work around it, which is unfair to you, however, that's one possibility. Or we've gotta stop and drag it out of the way and then drag it back later, which is why we have to kind of leave it up here. No, listen. That's only to say that if you're like, oh yeah, no problem, then I would. But if there was even one micro of change you had to make, we will move it. That's what I'm saying.
Emily said she'd like to move it,
Yeah.
just because it is like
Okay.
a
So
good
if-
amount of the stage
So Shaq was suggesting maybe if we go as far as the piano, we'd be okay. Does that
to
kind
move
of?
it back.
Is that enough square footage space? Literally, like,
Yeah.
say this is a line here. From here onwards, they'll have their setup.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fine.
rack will stay put.
Oh, forgive. Okay, except
Yeah,
that
that
rack.
can't
That
move.
that can't move.
That's fine, but I think.
So
for
anything
this
other,
issue-
anything past that?
Yeah.
I do the thing here.
Is that cool?
So,
So yeah, cause you'll just
Okay.
gauge
Spin
it.
this thing out.
Yeah.
All right. So this is time movers.
Yeah.
You guys.
So I would think that would be,
Hi, Kirk. Yeah. How are you?
Nice to meet
So-
you.
Thanks for doing this for us.
because I think
Yeah,
there's probably a
excited.
stage where we want to grab this stuff first. And just swing the carpets because we want to swing the mat.
Stop that. We try
Now
it.
the sitar I'm going to take with me because I continue to clean stuff, but that doesn't make much of a difference.
I'm
These
Shaylin.
carpets will
Nice to
slide
meet
and
ya.
pebbles and
Hi.
slide. So really, it's just like grabbing one, two,
Okay.
three
Okay.
bundles of awkward things.
Yeah.
that will all
Yeah,
have to be
yeah.
together.
This
So
is,
just give you the heads up.
so that's kind of the two
This
main
scene that you guys have interpreted as the meeting between the two, which is myself and sitting under Professor Foddergill. So we're going to speak.
No, you know,
It's called Dragonfly.
there's a
So
rule in the.
this is what I'm going to say,
It's like,
right? So I'm
you
going to
don't
invite him,
have-
tell
you
him
don't
who he
have
is,
time.
Professor
It's like-
Then he's going to set up the scene. It takes like no more.
So if I grab this and
I
go,
tell him what's happening. This is when I introduce you guys.
This
Please
Margaret
perform.
and
I
this
will play because I'm into it.
okay.
Sunshine and Professor
stage is
Jean Endicott.
Yeah, well, once Erica gets here, she gets to
merge the two.
That's it.
Oh,
So
except
the
for.
idea is that when the dancers,
So
they
two
want this
dancers,
space.
and I'm gonna call you,
So this stuff's gonna have to come out.
roll up, right?
I think sort of everything but that.
So we'll speak,
So yeah,
wait
stuff's.
to finish, we're gonna be able to bow.
But I think I was thinking you would get.
So it's
Yeah,
nothing
so
formal.
there's three things here and they're all connected that we have to move at the same time. So if you can get those two, I've got this. Yeah, they're all.
Set up or ready. Two chairs, where would you like them? Right where
Okay,
they're.
so that's-
And it's got some sticky putty on the end, so as long as it's kind of clear on its own.
So also the lights in here.
Are those yours?
Well, we're also gonna have a tub of.
It was
we got one
clear.
more here.
Okay, well, I'll do it.
And
We
the
don't have
next
to
is-
stuff.
Should we reset?
We're gonna park it around, because this thing.
Is it got stuff? Oh,
Yes, I can take it away.
Right, so that's as far as we can go. So
We just
then-
need more chairs.
Okay,
So
sorry.
then the carpet's just kind of.
You can take your time.
Yeah, as long as we got like a minute, not like 30 seconds.
I mean, there's no.
We're not gonna rush it.
Oh, no, no, that's right. You didn't know.
You've done exactly like you're doing it, extremely quick.
I don't know. I've been in
Yeah.
this room since like,
I can show you. I'm trying to think of the best ones for you.
I think we all need to know that.
I'm Max.
Had to
Why don't
go
you show
some-
us when they're finished their rehearsal? Hey,
But now
Max,
this won't have.
why don't you
this
show us
on
when
it,
they're finished their
take this
segment?
with them. So essentially that'll be the move, yeah. It's just
Oh,
dragging it, if you go over top of the
oh
other carpet.
my god.
Yeah, even just, you can grab it and fold it.
We just need to change, come in and then.
I don't know.
So we just need to change. We didn't know where to change. Is that Patria over there? No. Are you Patria? Oh, hi! Please, come down. We were looking for you earlier, sorry. It's hard to see back there. How are you? It's very organized.
This is, dancers with the chairs, right?
Yeah.
We're clearing this
They
for?
want the chairs dead center.
Okay.
The only thing they're a bit concerned is that. They went, oh, so I don't know if that's gonna change their desire to have it center. So it's all dead center.
I guess. What's the other problem?
So you want to strike, if you want help, I can help you. There's my mic, and his mic. Maybe it is easier for me handheld. It's nice to strike off. Okay, then fine. Hey, whatever, okay, cool. So, let me see what they say first, because they're asking them to do that, and then I can imagine them wanting that.
I was just confused. It was the same thing.
Oh, no, it's like part A, but it is one.
My guess is that.
So,
Okay, so that's our.
I just, I will have to be back there when you're talking.
Do you want me to?
So what would be the cover guy? Me, you,
Like, if I hold one, I won't roll this, I put it in my pocket.
if that's, it's just the three.
It's just, let's just do the hands, see how far. Because I don't need any square footage. It's like,
This is doing, building that up.
and then I'll just strike it too. I don't want it to give me any feedback.
So
Or
where's
should
the
I put
cover?
it like right there?
Yeah, I'll mute it when you're moving.
Yeah, okay, cool.
That's why I want you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, very cool. Maybe after.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
It's not the obvious one, I'll have.
Like being back there. So once you come in,
Can we
because I've got just those 2 lanes, right?
Yeah.
Because
I
want
think
to
so.
be like, boom,
Just
transition
as the
in
podium.
minutes.
Yeah, I.
Appreciate the help.
Do you have anything else, like a PowerPoint or anything, or are you? Okay, I'm not going to be down here during, so I don't know.
Okay, cool.
She's gonna help me with these
Just, you know.
things.
Well, I'm sure someone.
Whatever's fastest.
This is why I'm talking about.
Second to the
Got it, yeah, let's keep it here.
Is it after the dancers?
Yes.
So probably it should be out.
Okay. Do you know when?
After the dancer.
What is happening?
So we're just about to, someone else is coming.
Right second to the last.
Hello, how are you? Patria?
Yeah.
Okay, Eric.
She'll introduce you and.
We should, we're waiting for the dancers to come because it's their time to rehearse. So I want to talk to you about our segment
try to sit So right here, Patria.
It's hard to explain, but I don't have like direct control.
Do you need the podium to speak?
It's all like
Okay.
movie theater perspective.
Thank you.
So we
How's
might
that?
have to just start with this.
So
I can go all off, but then when we come back on.
let's ask her why. She's welcome, Patria.
I'm sorry, I know.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
calm down.
Okay, cool.
I'll say this. Go ahead. Use the mic. She's just gonna say something for 30 seconds and then it's all yours.
4 minutes 33 seconds, or just 4:33. It's a three-movement composition by American composer John Cage, commonly known as 4 minutes 33 seconds of silence. It was inspired by Cage's idea that beauty can come out of stillness. No doubt a reflection of the influence of Zen Buddhism, which Cage studied in the late 1940s. Please join me as I take on John Cage's invitation to enjoy things as they come, as they happen, rather than as they are possessed or kept or forced to be.
So after you say that, this is it. Then you have what can you show me what it is? Like I it's
Up to just one point from a series of
Hi, my name is Junai. I'm
maybe I
from
should
the
say that.
instrumental.
Did you say that in your
No, I didn't, because I want them to be.
You don't want me to say that? Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, okay.
Another guy is
So what I'll do is I'll say leave the stanza.
they might have hooked on the book, so I was just looking
Yeah.
for if I'm in the right place.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so what I'll do is, and then I'll pause for 30 seconds, and then switch off the sound, and I'll pause for 2 minutes.
Yes.
2 minutes, 20 seconds.
Okay, no, that's perfect.
And then read on, and I'll pause for 1 minute, 40 seconds, and then I'll read the rest of the poem.
Do you need timer? Are you doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, perfect. I wondered. John Cage is like that. Okay.
Yeah, so the thing is, I'm not familiar with this timer, so maybe I'll just use my cell phone,
Yeah, sure, you can do that too.
because my cell phone is really pretty accurate, so I can just time myself.
So, and the last, so I'm aware, switch off the emergency silence. That's the last thing. And there's no silence after that.
No.
Like there's not like a 30-second pause.
No,
after.
no.
Perfect. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna write that down so I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah,
Emergency. I just need the last line.
switch off the emergency silence.
Switch off the emergency silence. Thank you. Good.
Okay.
That's gonna come after you speak. Great. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the
That's good.
All right, so now the dancers are gonna rehearse, so we'll clear the stage, okay? Thank you, Patria, good to meet you.
Okay. I'll just take this stuff. And that's yours?
Yes.
Okay.
John Cage. John Cage.
So Sheila, do you, hi, sorry, do you need this one? Two mics, one here, one that leads into it? I'm assuming you wanna strike, if you're gonna strike off the instruments, right? So if I take it, that's gonna be my responsibility. If I take the mic, and I'm just gonna move the mic line, cool?
Maybe not. Sorry. They don't.
If I do, is that cool?
Sorry.
And the foil.
And the foil,
Yeah, cool. So just give me the heads up. I mean, just give me like 20 seconds to do that, and then you guys are on. Awesome. Go for it.
I'm not big. I'm skinny. They just made fun of me at Cache for that.
play the music.
Okay, thank you. It sounds so different.
Hi, Victor. Long time no see. Haven't seen you in so long. Huh?
Now here I really need you to mark this space.
Okay.
Okay, so that'll work, like around those things.
Yeah, I think there are
We just
certain parts that have to
basically-
be go to upstage a little bit more.
Yeah.
I have. Can we do that walk? You know that walk that you do? Because right now it's looking a little awkward.
Okay.
So with the chairs, can we have the chairs? Yeah, if it's upstage, that's fine too. Or if you chose downstage, that's
Yeah.
good too.
Yeah, downstage.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Thing is not obstructing. We can always
Is that good?
That's good. This one here is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here.
I put you
I got
down the
so
right spot,
confused.
and you just kept going.
Just
That
remember,
way, right?
She down there.
fall right where the
Yeah, where this is.
this is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Another thing, because of the light, when you guys are settled on a chair, you have to look a little bit more tilted upwards.
Okay.
Because here we are seeing shadows.
Yeah.
It's harder to see. So
On
this
that
one,
side
like
too.
right, yeah. Yeah, here is.
Okay.
Which is why moving you upward, upstage is a little better.
Upstage?
The chairs, when I said go up a little bit more, we can. Okay. Do you want to do it once more?
Once more.
Yeah.
Once more? Yeah.
See
Once
who's
more
left.
is all we need. Okay. Thank you, Connie. The background is amazing.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
I thought it might work.
Yeah, it did. It worked really well.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you?
Oh, bump. Because they're actually doing Mr. and Mrs. This stuff almost.
Very nice.
Yeah, as we
Mr.
were
and Mrs.
creating, we were like, oh, this is.
Mr. Smith.
Gee, I know sometimes the dancers don't acknowledge their pause. Do you want to acknowledge?
Oh yeah. What are we?
So after this is all done, we're not going to do much about lighting. We'll just come back in here if you can, and then just do a.
Okay, so
Is
after
there a
you.
blackout?
Yes.
No,
there
there's
won't
not.
be a back out. Yeah.
Right.
So,
After the bow, can you acknowledge the two actors that comes before you?
That's
And
myself
maybe-
and Professor
Oh,
Robin.
yes,
And
yes,
maybe
yes. Okay.
even you, if you
Yeah.
want.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are you going to be seated? Like
I'm gonna be right there in that
Yes.
chair.
Can,
Okay, so
can
I'm
we
Rob.
reverse from,
Rob,
from your
Will you be
ending?
sitting there for this evening?
So you tap
From?
me.
Will you be sitting there for this evening?
No.
You'll be up
Like
forward.
this up?
Yeah. So we'll be all be there.
Face me.
We'll be there.
Okay, all right.
How about
So-
we reverse the ending at your pause?
Okay.
So,
Professor Rob will be there.
Professor
Come over, yes.
Rob,
Erica.
can we rehearse the ending of your scene?
Yeah, sure. Stiff today.
Stiff neck, eh?
I like the shuffle.
Would you like to sit where you ideally like to sit?
Just
And then
in
I can get you.
This is round 12.
And what should I make more? Do you want more? Like should I put them upstairs?
One's you though. That's the thing. You have precedence, so.
But there's like a bathroom, so I guess I'll just go like
On there.
Yeah.
All right.
close myself.
Oh, they're all the same name.
Does my makeup
I say no.
Yeah, always.
Okay.
You
so,
want three on the end here.
When do you come on? That
Come
later?
on.
Yeah.
From
Before.
either side.
Okay. So you stand by
Yeah.
when they do the scene.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll
Oh,
like
you
will we
need
be
to
in the audience and then
Okay, well, I will bring you on a piece of
like where do we go
Yes.
on?
The word reserved on
Yes,
it.
the
Even
professor.
when they
Love the.
introduce
He's on, yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
oh
You get
wow,
there.
yes.
So
Okay.
they take about 3 minutes for the
Okay.
scene.
Is there one for Mr.
Because we're
For
sitting
Rob?
in a seat.
Sorry.
The phone, the mic.
Are we sitting?
No, one of these seats
I don't think
reserved.
so.
I just moved.
Melanie, we're not in the audience, are we? We're not in the audience, we just come
Like
up.
where do we come from to get on
We,
stage?
goodness, but probably need to warm up a little bit too beforehand. Is there like a little place?
Perfect.
Let's talk about this after,
Okay.
yes, because we have time.
Okay, so you stand at where you were going to come in.
Yeah, so this needs to be on stage.
Can we just do the connection?
Yes, let's do that.
Would you like to? Okay, great.
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so here,
The mic.
The
Can we
mic
do
is.
without the mic?
next will be
Okay, yeah.
moving slightly.
All right, so we're just gonna do the end portion of it, just to show them transition. There's gonna be a mic right there and a mic here.
Right.
And don't worry about striking it off, just
Okay.
continue, okay? So we're gonna hear the last little bit. So will you work with us?
What do you want me to do?
You must tell us the truth. You must help us see corruption and injustice. Advise us as a friend and a true critic.
Madam Zhang, You have my word.
And he's gonna go, I'm gonna go, and then boom.
Then I'll show this picture, and then I'll show that background again, and then hopefully the music.
same time?
Yes, yes. Is it possible to have a blackout because it's hard for them to let people know that the show is finished or the piece? Is that okay? Yeah. That would be perfect.
Excuse me. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that blackout would really, yeah. Because they just finished this movie
Sure.
and I just go like, okay, let's, you know. So I think it would be nice to have a blackout too, right before the bow. Yes. You want to try that?
Coming after the box.
Okay, great, thank
Up
you.
there.
Is the floor slippery?
Sorry, so again, they're on a preset with like a fader, so it's not.
Fader
don't
would
really
be
have-
better than nothing at this point.
I'll just show you what it looks like.
Okay, thank you.
Victor looks like he's about to summon the Avengers. Doesn't he? Victor looks like he's about to summon the Avengers.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not slippery. I think I'm just getting used to like where we are. Like
Oh yeah, like, I'm like, oh, I can't put you down there.
I know, yeah.
I'll walk away.
Yeah, and just like putting looking down and stuff. But that's fine.
Emily, you can't have a blackout with this computer screen. I think it's okay to leave it on, to be honest. It's yeah, that blackout is gonna feel there's it's the ending of the piece. That's all.
How did it look? I think that was just
Yeah, I
like
think we're very conscious of these two boxes here because we want to make sure we don't scrape our feet.
Yeah.
Gil, don't wear that.
Try not to use too much of the
This side?
edge.
Yeah.
That works.
Okay.
That works.
It's
Now
just
my
that- and then when I come back on, all like the audience lights are gonna come back on, and I'm gonna have to bring those down individually.
I
Like
see.
it's,
As you said, it's preset.
yeah, right.
Yes.
So
I try not to use it, but in this piece, we need
no, I
it
get
just
why
to.
you would. For
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Totally. Okay. Well, as long as
It's
as long
okay.
as at the end, some of the lights will come back up, and then I'll bring them down again.
Okay, and we will be bowing anyways
Right.
at that time.
Okay. So when am I hitting?
When he grabs me.
Yeah.
Right?
The very end, they will be here, and Shaquille.
Yeah.
Can we do that for him just
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. Sorry.
So it's just the both of them.
So I'm here, I turn away from him,
Yeah.
go this way. So
Okay.
maybe when like he gets up to run to me, because it's a slow fade,
It's really
right?
slow. Yeah.
So maybe when he
I just feel
You
like
push me down.
okay,
Is there only one time you do that?
at the very end. Well, you wouldn't know that.
Because I felt like you were doing that before, and I'm scared I'm gonna like throw myself in the middle of your show.
You should just do it with the music then.
Well, we do. Okay, I do a dive roll,
Okay.
like with this,
Yeah.
and then we go over here. He throws me, then I do a push.
Right.
So that the push, I think,
Okay.
pays.
Yeah.
I'll do my
But
best.
you know, the timing of that, of the fading actually takes quite a bit to
Yeah. Totally.
come down.
Yeah.
So maybe when she did the dive roll on the floor,
Okay.
we can actually start hitting that button.
Yeah. I mean, once it's going, I can't stop it. So.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
I
So
know,
maybe you can hit that
I
button.
just, I'm scared it's gonna fade before you're done. And I don't want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You want to see it one more time, and then.
Sure.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
So I feel like that might be too long then. Because we usually stare at it for a while too.
Roll.
No, because then we have this.
Yeah, that might be.
Oh,
I think
it
that's
should be when I push you. You push me down.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
the pushing is far
Yeah.
better. The push, we'll have it at the push, when she pushed him.
Okay.
You can't hear, okay.
Sorry, I can't really hear you.
Oh, yeah, no worries. So we'll have it at the push, because
Okay.
it's quite fast.
Okay.
When I'm down.
When he's down, right
And that
here.
only happens once.
Yeah,
In that
over
corner.
here.
Yeah, in that
Okay.
corner, yes.
So
that's
when you
the
go
push.
down, I'll hit it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, you need this one?
Did you want us to round again, or do you feel good?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask Honey how much time we have, because I don't want to take too much time. Is there anyone marking, and what's the plan right now? I'm
Marking,
just
yeah.
asking if they can run one more time, and if there's no time, some of them.
Yeah. Let me just check. Is
If there's some.
Kate? Do you know where's Patty? Patty. Anybody know where Patty is?
America? Have you heard?
Don't even know who that is.
The one who do the John Cage.
Oh, Patria.
Yeah.
Patria, outside selling
We
books.
don't need, we don't need to do
Okay, you want
Huh?
Patria in?
She's
She's
just
selling
reading.
books.
She's just reading.
But we have to do it with the performer.
Who's,
The 4 minutes 33 seconds.
yeah.
So you
We
want
need her.
Patria in?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll grab her.
So
Patria,
we
Patria.
need to go over with her, and
Okay.
then we're done.
Okay.
And you can.
She's just
No
reading.
worries.
No, she's just reading. She's doing that.
Yes, but we are.
Transitioning.
Yeah, that's my worry, is
Yes,
that I
we
notice
are
you
doing
keep wearing
this.
socks because it
Like
gets slippery. How about you?
Stopwatch.
Good. I have sweaty feet.
You have what?
So like, no, honestly, like my feet are really sweaty. So
Simultaneously.
Okay.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
Okay,
Sorry,
alright.
she gave me the impression
It's up to you.
and then it's, that's right.
In my hair, I'll try to do the bun.
I wouldn't know that.
So
Okay. I don't know.
later. When you should come here. Yes.
Glenn.
So,
I'm so sorry.
Erica, can we go from that set?
Hi, Patria. We're gonna run out.
Where's Alice?
Alice, I just saw
Just
her.
hold you want to stand.
Okay.
Because I'll be reading.
So can I strike the dancers' chairs now? We're done with that,
Yes,
right?
we're done.
Is that cool? So we
Yeah.
go back to our formation?
Yeah.
Just a second, Patria.
You know where the green room is? The green room?
Yeah.
I think it's in 312.
Yeah, so I'll give you about your
Hey,
time,
Glenn?
but I may resort to
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me back and let me know. Do you
It's a yellow spike mark, right?
Yes.
I just wanna make sure. Cool.
Yeah, after it's moved.
Is there a?
So at this point,
Someone said there's a green room?
Okay.
Oh, that's
after the dancers leave us out,
Yeah.
then we help strike by that. Probably not, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I basically, I just went over that everything that doesn't need me, like, I'm just.
Oh, those are nice.
Yes. Push those straight back.
Okay.
No, that's good. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Probably go there then.
Okay. Okay. Can you please find that where?
And then when they're ready, and then they're back.
Now,
She's right there.
Oh, no.
Alexa.
Where are you? No, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
What? You asked me to find out?
Okay. She's still the John Cage.
you're on it. You're awesome. You're on it.
So maybe you might as well use
okay,
this because
okay.
it's 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So we'll go to the green room.
Is that okay, Patria?
For this piece, can you go over there a little bit more? So we have this.
Go to the green room.
That-
Yeah.
Do
It's not up to me.
Bring my
It's not up to
No,
me.
sit
They
anywhere
are
you
doing
like,
the
really.
For this piece,
Me
can you
neither.
move this
Anywhere you like.
to that?
Those spots are yours.
To that spot.
Yeah, this.
Give it a call.
Yeah.
We'll just have to like,
Somebody was like crazy busy
hold it
on the subway.
during the transition.
Yes.
Like east and west, so it was like that. So I was like 5 minutes late.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So
Thanks so much. That was really great. Nicely done. Eventually, yeah. I wonder if she's the last person to use it, actually.
Yes,
Okay, that works out beautifully.
How far?
the lecturing
Yeah,
part is fine.
yeah, exactly.
And then after that is your closing remark, or sorry, is the music again, and then your closing?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Just the, yeah, we're good.
So can you introduce?
I'll have to do it from there though, okay?
Yeah, please.
I'm just gonna introduce you. American composer John Cage's influence lay in various East and South Asian cultures. After his studies of Indian philosophy and Zen Buddhism, he wrote a book about music called Silence. His composition 433 asks the musician to do nothing during the performance in 3 movements. In fact, when the piece begins, and you show the slide? In fact, when the piece begins, musicians are asked to pack up their instruments. Filipino writer Patria Rivera
wrote a poem called Interpretation of John Cage's 433. So I'll just do that, because you're going to be standing there maybe. And then I'm going to move the mic down. I need you to come, let's move you closer. So right there. Okay, is that okay up here?
4 minutes, 33 seconds, or just 4:33.
Excuse me.
Is
Patty, sorry. First, speak louder.
okay.
And also tell the audience you are starting the piece.
I will, I definitely have.
Like you have to signal you are starting the piece.
Oh,
You give us a cue.
oh, okay. So I'll say, I'll just say like this.
Okay.
If I'm starting the piece.
No, I'll do it. I'll do it here. I'll do this. Yeah, you signal me, and then I
So-
just want the audience to know we're starting the piece.
Okay. So what I'll do is 20-second. No, I don't need to do the 20-second.
No, Kanin, she
Yeah.
has a 20-second introduction before you begin the piece. That's why she
Or
was
I
just,
can remove it altogether
she was
because.
just speaking right now. That was
Yeah.
not the piece.
Oh, it's not the piece yet.
So okay. So do I need?
Patria, continue like the way you did with your 20 seconds of your intro. That was fine. I think he misunderstood you, thought it was the piece, that's why.
Yeah, it's not the piece
Yeah.
yet.
Okay, all right. Yes.
Okay. 4 minutes, 33 seconds, or just 4:33, is a 3-movement composition by American composer John Cage. Commonly known as 4 minutes, 33 seconds of silence, it was inspired by Cage's idea that beauty can come out of stillness. Please join me as I take on John Cage's invitation to enjoy things as they come, as they happen, rather than as they are possessed or kept or forced to be. Interpretation of John Cage's 433, a seminal composition without a single note. Leave the stanza.
You can pretend if you like. Come on, come on. We'll pull.
There's tea that in the cafeteria. I have to do the tea back to bring the tea in, so you can just tea there. That is the tea there. Just tea there.
Thank you very much.
The tea bag is behind the tea urn. I'll put it at that.
Are you reading?
No, I'm not reading. So it's the end of the first 30
The end of
seconds.
the first movement?
Yeah, the end of the first 30 seconds. So do I signal 2 for the second movement?
Okay, is there any pause in between the movement?
Yeah.
How many?
So 30 seconds and then 2 minutes, 23 seconds.
Okay,
And then,
okay. Then you have to show us clearly where you begin and where you want to stop.
okay. So
Can you go from the beginning again? Like after your speech.
Yeah, all right. So I think I'll just give you the cue. So after you leave the stanza, it's 30 seconds. Switch off the sound, it's 2 minutes, 23 seconds. And then system read on 1 minute, 14 seconds.
So
I wish I have a copy of my of this.
You say it. Do you say the word?
Yeah, I say the words, leave the stanza. So it's a cue for the 30 seconds of silence. And then I say, switch off the sound. That's 2 minutes, 23 seconds of silence. That's my own version. And then system read on, it's 1 minute, 40 seconds of
And
silence.
what else is he?
That's the rest of the poem, which is from here. So it's about 33 seconds.
Yes, yes.
What do you think? Or will it be a big problem? Because I can also just read through and then read two other poems
Yes, maybe with the other poem.
instead of, and then, so we won't be bothering about the time then.
Mm-hmm. Maybe not. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll read the next two poems and then.
How about the first poem and the second?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Read through, no more
Yeah.
silence in between. There's no more silence in between.
Yes.
My thought was to put words inside this in the second and third and fourth poems. So I put stanzas inside the
Okay, let's do the second poem and see how it goes.
Okay. Yeah.
Second. Yeah.
Okay.
So you tell us when you're beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now. Okay. Go ahead.
Interpretation of John Cage's 433, a seminal composition without a single note.
Right, what is the sound?
You can put that. Yeah.
Yes, you don't do the sound anymore?
Leave the stanza.
Oh.
Switch off the sound. System, read on. Okay, I'm depressed. I am tired. Reverse, leave the stanza. Disneyland left. Leave the paragraph. Get in the right frame of mind. Ask the musicians to turn the pages of the score sheets after each of the 3 movements. Switch off the emergency silence.
Is that it?
That's the first one.
That's the first one. Okay, go to the second one.
Okay. Interpretation of John Cage's 433. Thought he was adored father and best pal, avid angler waiting for the big one. Enjoyed his family, was cruel, spent more time cultivating his reputation. Leave the stanza. A collector fully loaded with antiques, filled his days counting, looked at time through his dual zone watch, slept like a cuckoo. Switch off the sound. Outspoken supporter of community values, walked to her bridge classes in darkness and all weathers to affirm the city is a safe and friendly place. She is remembered for many kindnesses. System, read on. He was cold, she was wise. They decided years ago that their remains would be donated for medical research and study. Their ashes interred in a common plot. Okay, I'm depressed. I'm tired. Reverse, leave the stanza. Disneyland left. Leave the paragraph. Get in the right frame of mind. asks the musicians to turn the pages of the score sheets after each of the 3 movements. Switch off.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Was that 1 and 2?
No, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe just 2. The one is very short.
Yeah, okay.
Without the pause.
Without the pause. This one is with the pause. What I just read.
Yes.
Yeah, so what do you think?
Maybe 2.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that's fine.
Yes. I just need to know the time.
Yeah, so I think between those two, it's about 133, 133. All in all, it would be 5 minutes.
Okay, all right. Okay. 1 and 2. Or
1 and 2, 1 and 2 is,
2, right?
yeah, just 2 is, yeah,
About 5 minutes.
yeah.
Okay, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's at the very last section.
That's right,
At the very end.
Because there's 3.
One of them I heard you talking to, playing. Sean. No, no, the other guy. Mum. Yeah.
You can laugh.
They are going to.
Thank you.
That's
Actually do, yeah.
I was just sort of curious because
So you stop resetting this very last.
yes, and before I do anything, I think this is either move or stop.
Okay. And I'll just put my stuff in there. No ruler, is it okay? When you stop packing, can I just?
Okay, that's right, okay, so Ravina is not
You can stop. Yeah. And then go back on stage.
Yes,
There's some-
yes, I know,
phone.
I have absolutely nothing to do. So,
We're instrumental music. Is that on?
excellent. Even I remember their song.
Yeah.
No need to help the two.
because they need to be warmed up first before coming.
All right.
So after the readings, I'm going to ask them to make an entrance, right? And then after they're here, or after they're on the stage, then you can play the music.
Okay. Remember I show a picture of 3 of you?
Yes.
When I show that, they can walk
There you
down.
can walk down, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they're there, you
They're
can
there.
change, and then they're in place,
When
you
they're
can play.
ready.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Perfect, that's
All right.
perfect. But I will cue them. Like I already did here. I didn't think so.
Alicia also is the stage manager. She was supposed to contact performers when to get
Alicia as
yeah.
well. Okay, okay. All right, yes, yes, okay. But
So yeah, just approximately, where you are.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to
done tuning, I'm done tuning. So
Yes, yeah, I'm done.
oh, you good? All right.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'd be tuning. You'd be like, "This doesn't sound right." And you'd be playing, and I'm playing. Oh, this doesn't sound right.
I'm sure yours is very sentimental to you. I mean, very sensitive, right?
Yes.
I mean, string instrument, so.
It's it can be tricky.
Yeah.
you need me to count?
No, I'm just gonna tune. Okay. Just. It would be in D, right? D. D. Yeah.
are out there. No, 640. 40. Thank you so much. Okay, so people are coming in at 6:40. That's okay with all of you.
Just need a moment to.
Oh, lots. It's until 6:24.
So sorry, so sorry.
If you sit on the, okay, there you go.
Somehow we've done some switch or something. So finally he understood he made wrong with the keyboard. Yeah. He said that this is
Sounds like a Czech.
you have to tune your flute because this is not the flute that we play much. Sorry?
Sounds like Czech.
Okay, I'll say one.
Because the priests change their coming, right? But we have some practice.
You can.
Sound.
You know, we should actually, well, we should be doing this now, pulling all this stuff back up, because we're up first as far as I know.
Okay, so let's do it. So did you ask them?
Yeah,
Just go to the washroom, we'll be back.
okay, got it. We're the first ones up, right? Yeah, I think so, so I think it's time we should move this out.
I mean, the rehearsal is okay. I mean, everybody rehearsed already. So we can. No problem.
Yeah, I think we have.
You put the tabla, please.
Actually, I'll grab the first carpet.
Yeah. That means exactly where it was. Is it okay or?
Yeah, it has to be further back than this.
Okay, this level.
Yeah, it can be anywhere back here, but we just don't want to go, and make it look like it. So we gotta make it look nice. No, thank you. Here comes our circus move. They should be pointing probably.
Yeah, so
Did the picture find a good spot? I thought it was really.
It wasn't as bad as I made it out. It's like, all of a sudden, you're done.
What are you more?
Yeah, it's kind of slow. It'll be tougher during. That's going to be tough. Olympic team is still there.
Don't come from the back. Is it okay? We'll check once more sound, right?
Probably a small few.
I will go, actually, if you want to power up.
Yeah. Well, power up right now?
Yes.
Okay. So this one is the string instrument that I need to check.
Oh, there's another one.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
another one, yeah. That will, actually, this will be used for this one.
Great.
So,
So, once that's on.
can I break down?
Yep.
So, I'll move that now. Want to chord me in front of your tablet?
In front of you is good? Okay.
Yeah, I think it has to go just around your tablet.
Yeah. I can pass it
Well, he needs room for sitting, right?
Yeah.
No, I can check the sound.
Just check. আপনি এখানে চলে আসুন, এখানে চলে আসুন।
Sound কি এটা না?
হ্যাঁ এটা। ওটা দিচ্ছি। আচ্ছা দিচ্ছি।
sound, master sound?
Pardon?
Will you give the sound, that's all, or it will be increased?
That's the sound that we sound checked at earlier. That's the level.
Okay, that's the level.
Yeah, I haven't changed anything since last time. Do you want me to?
একটা টক সাউন্ড আসে। টিকটিক সাউন্ড আসছে। এটা আরো ন্যাচারাল আসে সাউন্ডটা। টিকটিক সাউন্ড আসে, টিকটিক সাউন্ড আসে।
But we don't need house sound, like these guys don't need to do anything to it.
No.
Okay, go on. Good?
Thank you.
Actually, we have another tune for it. Yeah, it's not, I'm not tuning for it.
Oh, yeah. I remember
It
now.
would sound bad and better than.
Yeah. Okay, so something here. Can I switch off these things?
Oh, no, you're
Yeah,
still open.
just tell me.
Cool. Or do you want to just leave it because you guys are going first? Like, do you
Yeah,
want-
yeah.
Because then we'll have to do the same thing again in a minute.
When I will be the, I'll start it again, you mean?
Yeah, do you want to just leave it on until you guys are done? Or do you want it to stop?
Yeah, we have to turn off because we have to move all the stuff back.
No,
But after you
it's
play.
saying before we start. So right now, when we walk away, we'll leave it on.
Well, I mean, I think it's leave it on. It's okay. It's good. Yeah. So not good.
And then when you guys are done playing, when I'm walking down here, my hand will be off.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We call that gangster.
Here we go. Good place. You got a good sound finally.
How?
Yeah. Because here I can increase more sound if we think that the more audiences, the sound is getting absorbed from the so I can increase it here also. It's not a problem.
That we will find out.
Yeah, of course.
عشان كهرب بحاول إن شاء الله.
Inshallah. That's good, man. Get on. That's good. আপনি লাস্টে সাউন্ডটা পরিষ্কার ছিল না?
Yeah, but as soon as I start my talking, I don't hear anything. Sean, if I don't hear the lehra, I I will just stop
I will
and then,
keep the strings.
no, I will stop and say that, you know, I'm having trouble.
You'll hear me.
Yeah.
But in the first part, I can still play that gentle music, right? The first part, before we cut.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So that's
But still,
But
I mean,
more
because
definition.
there will be rules, so
Yeah.
I may or may not.
No, I hear you. More
Because I
definition.
need to hear all the 1, 2, 3
Yes.
for the Kali and stuff. I need to hear them. Yeah.
So what you said.
And this,
Yeah, just the vocal, right? That's component, poetry, speaker. That's
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, we know each other. Come on. How's it going?
You finished Roxana now?
Yeah.
That kind of trial is over.
Leave it there. Even I didn't know this. I didn't tell her.
Oh, there's a piece of the team. Oh, okay. Me too. Right. Absolutely. Has there been a lot of things going on here? Yeah, I know. Yeah, all right. So,
Hi, I thought you must be Dean. You look like it. Hi, you're okay. Hey, how are you? Great seeing you. Yeah. And you see whether she's naughty or nice.
we know that already.
True that the children is all funky. And Kate is so kind. So everything is so funny. You know what? It's actually I have talked to Trump just they said that they got constant collaboration. So they are
Oh, that's fantastic.
because they said that they know you well.
That's right. Well, we have lots of talking to do.
So they're trying to find out some ideas that they want.
Excellent. Yeah, and we've confirmed how that's going to be up in the 谢谢。中文非常好。I went to Alice and I actually went to China a year ago with U of T. We went to Korea, Chengdu, and Hong Kong. We toured some music. It was like. 我应该可以讲中文。But we will have to work. You'll have to practice. I know you open up yourself for trouble when you say that. You save me the trouble of trying to speak English. Now I've done it. Very nice meeting you. Nice meeting you too, for sure. Well, I guess it comes to a point where you have to stop emailing and just start doing things. It's very funny. You said, can we meet? And they said, oh, this time. I said, oh, I'm not free for another And we've got, I think, we're going to Prague, Krakow, and Budapest in early July. And then the 50th anniversary concert that we're doing at Four Seasons. So yeah, so it's all these extra things that we've kind of done. Now that the door opens. Outside of the tour. Yeah, well, in the month, we're going to have like 4 to 8 shows. You sounded like an adult. It is. I mean, it's like being a talking parent. You know, the kids. You know, once we get into our production, it's 10 hours a week. Which we've been doing in the past 10 years. Yeah, we used to be the Canadian Children's Opera, and we became the Canadian Children's Opera Concert.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Welcome to the Asian Heritage Month concert. My name is Erica Iris, and I will be your host for this evening. I am actually an opera singer, not a professional MC by of any sorts, but I'm based at the Canadian Opera Company, and I'm in my 8th consecutive year in their opera chorus. And I specialize in new contemporary works, where I've grown very fond of composers like Chiang Kai-nin and Alice Hone. So thus there's my connection with Asian Heritage Month. This is actually, I think, my 3rd time participating in this event. So very, very pleased to be here. And it gives me great pleasure to sing for you later this evening. Before tonight's exciting program begins, here's a video address from our honorary patron, Asian Heritage Month, Justin Poi.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2017 Asian Heritage Month Gala held by the Canadian Foundation for Asian Culture. My name is Justin Poi, and I'm very proud to be the honorary patron of this foundation. Tonight, we have an incredible lineup of performances, and it's an amazing contribution from many different Asian cultures, and each and every year we try to grow this more and more because we want all Canadians, coast to coast, to know exactly what Asian culture is. Many people do not know In fact, many people are very unfamiliar with the continent of Asia and how many countries actually are within Asia. I'm actually constantly surprised by this. I really wanted to be there this evening. Unfortunately, I'm in Shanghai right now, and I was not able to attend. It's the first time I've ever missed the event. In fact, it's grown so large that it has to be held in the theater that you're in right now. We used to hold it in the wonderful Bata Museum downstairs, but we outgrew that location. And while Mrs. Bata has always been a great supporter of Asian Heritage Month and our foundation's events, we are now at Innes Hall and in this wonderful theater. So I apologize that I could not be there with you tonight, but I really want you to enjoy, sit back, and soak up the different cultural performances that have been put together for you tonight. I also want to thank especially Dr. Kay Lee. Kay, you have been amazing, especially in rallying support from the various funders for Canada 150. I want to just say that, for those of you who are adults in Canada 125, you can appreciate how far we've come since then. It's really up to the youth to make sure that we don't waste the momentum that we have, that we take that, and by the time we reach Canada 175, for those of us who are still standing, I hope that we've come leaps and bounds from where we were in the last 25 years. So enjoy the performance, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you at future events during the month of May. Take care.
Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha.
compositions from the Islamic traditions of Kathak. Kathak is influenced by both Hindu and Islamic traditions, and it's one of the 8 major classical dance forms from India, and the only dance form that combines both the Hindu and the Islamic traditions, which is quite rare to imagine in this world right now. So these compositions, Kathak has also another very unique thing, is always done with live music. If you cannot dance with live music, you are not considered as a seasoned Kathak dancer. Kathak is very mathematical in its rhythmic structure, so the goal is to be very efficient in that mathematical rhythms. And number 3 is it's the vocal traditions. So I'll be reciting the compositions and I'll be showcasing in the dance movements. In a very joking form. So don't be surprised if I'm being mad at them or something. Tati teta ati teta te. Tati teta ati teta te. Tati teta ati teta te. Teta teta te. Tati teta ati teta te. Tati teta ati teta te. Tati teta ati teta te. Teta teta te. Tati teta ati teta te. Tati teta ati teta te. Tati teta ati teta te. Teta teta ta. The last one, the percussionist or the tabla player, he wanted to challenge me with some of the, I would say, rhythmically challenging stuff, and it's also physically challenging a little bit. So he has a composition in mind, and he's going to throw it at me.
Wow, wasn't that mesmerizing? Let's just give that another round of applause. That's, of course, Mastaria Rose and her beautiful ensemble. Thank you so much. Okay, so tonight we're very honored that Japanese writer Joy Kagawa, who made a video of herself reading an excerpt from the prologue that she wrote, Gently to Nagasaki. But first, we'll hear the beautiful Sakura lullaby from Japan with Teresa Soon on harp, Alice Ho on piano, and Chan Kanin on guitar.
My name is Joy Kagawa, and I'm here to talk about Gently to Nagasaki. I'm going to be reading the invocation, I guess I could call it, for the Goddess of Mercy. The whole book really is a scream for mercy. Mercy for the human condition, mercy for my dad. It's an effort to go through the hell that one needs to suppress in order to survive. A particular personal hell and a more public hell. The hell that exists between countries, between histories that are insufficiently known or told, about the people that struggle with that. The book may not be so much about all these things, but after it's been written, it comes to me as a project that needs to be followed through with, the kind of issues that go on for generations without let up. People get identified and stuck in identities. So in order to survive, don't suppress the truth. Enter it, embrace it, acknowledge it. If you don't, you will not come to reconciliations that are so essential. So the part that I'm going to read is just an invocation to the goddess to attend us, to be with us as she is, and to lead us. If I could follow the stream down and down to the hidden voice, would I come at last to the freeing word? In the dark light before dawn, in the deep light before dawn, the hidden voice comes, named and nameless, the goddess of mercy, she, the compassionate one who heeds the wailing in a world of weeping, comes to us. She dances the transition between moon and morning, robed in the whiteness of clouds. Down and down through the sensate sea, down through the amniotic deep, she dances, a rider of the vast turtle that roams the eastern myths. We hear her in the breath surrounding this blue-green planet, her singing as sunlight in the new day rising. In the first call of the first creatures, in the orchestrators of waking, we hear her. I am with you, she sings. I am with you through the water, under the water, in the birthing, in the forgetting, in the terror and at the heart of what you most fear. I am with you. Through the long, dark night of every absence, I am with you. Therefore, fear not.
Now from Japan, we come back to Toronto, where the Chinese writer Lin Chao has written a poem called A Drop of Water. Iranian composer Amin Arnaman, from Tehran, has set her words to music. In this work lies an amazing fusion of sensitivity from the two artists of two cultures, thousands of kilometers apart. So please welcome Lian Chao as she reads her poem.
A drop of water, snowflakes atop mountain peaks, swirling, ascending, descending, traveling thousands of miles, a drop of water, filtered through rocks, purified by trees, crystal clear, a stream. Golden trunks and red leaves are the destination of a long journey. In spring, maple sap drops in a million drops. Do you know a Chinese saying? A drop of water can mirror the sun. A drop of maple syrup is condensed with millions drops of stream. Since I'm a bilingual poet, I'm going to read the Chinese version as well. 群岚之巅，漫天雪花儿，腾空而上，飞舞而降。一滴水，行万里程。盐城里过滤，树林里纯净。一条小溪，晶莹清澈。金色的杆儿，红色的叶，是它长途跋涉的目的地。春天，枫糖浆，一滴一滴，千千万万滴。您可曾听说过，一滴水也能反映出太阳的光辉？一滴枫糖浆，浓缩了千千万万滴溪水。
So tonight, we are honored also to have Toronto writer Arlene Chan with her tribute to her mother, Jean Lum, who's an Order of Canada recipient. Now, as she approached forward, she's already on her mark, she's great. I'm going to tell you who Arlene Chan is. Author and Chinatown historian who has written 7 books about the history, culture, and traditions of Chinese in Canada. She devotes her time to researching, writing, lecturing, and relating her first-hand experiences and family stories as a Chinatown tour guide for Heritage Toronto and the Ward Museum. Arlene?
It all began for my mother in the year 1919 in a small mining town called Nanaimo. Her first years of life were uneventful until 1923, when the Chinese Immigration Act, known also as the Chinese Exclusion Act, replaced the head tax and banned further entry of Chinese into Canada. Furthermore, any Chinese in Canada, whether they were born here or naturalized, had to apply for a citizen identification card, and this is the identification card for my mother when she was 4 years old in the year 1923. It was a rough time during the Great Depression. My mother's family, now 12 children, and she had to quit school at the age of 12 to help support the family. 4 years later, at the age of 16, she moved to Toronto to work. When she arrived here in the 1930s, she was struck by the sight of the Bachelor Society. So many Chinese men, so few women, and only a dozen or so Chinese families. The first impression was to later direct her community life. At age 17, with the loan of $200, she opened a fruit store at Bathurst and St. Clair. She married my father, Doyle Lum, in 1939 at the Knox Presbyterian Church. This should have been a happy occasion, but my mother lost her citizenship and took on the status of alien because my father was from China. He was one of over 80,000 Chinese who had paid the head tax to come to Canada. Despite long hours, working in the family fruit store and raising us 6 children, she gave back to her community. She volunteered for the many war relief drives. She was the president of various women's associations and a trustee for the Toronto Chinese Public School. After the Second World War, things started looking up for the Chinese community. This VJ celebration in Chinatown was a happy occasion. The Chinese Exclusion Act was repealed. The Chinese got the right to vote. The Chinese can now enter into professions like medicine and law across the country. But there were still many immigration roadblocks that prevented family reunification for the Bachelor Society. In 1957, my mother was the only woman among the male delegation to make an appeal to the newly elected Prime Minister John Diefenbaker to make further changes to the immigration laws. Soon she became known as a spokesperson for the Chinese community. One important issue was Chinatown. In the early 1960s, 2/3 of our Chinatown was demolished for the construction of our new City Hall. There was no community consultation. After City Hall opened in 1965, the city had plans for further expropriation of land in Chinatown. This time around, the Chinese community fought back. My mother headed up the Save Chinatown Committee that stopped further expropriation, extended the boundaries of our Chinatown to Bathurst Street, and retained the neighborhood designation of Chinatown. My mother's mentor was Pauline McGibbon, who later became the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. She encouraged my mother to extend her work outside the Chinese community. How did she do this? Through Chinese culture. She established the Chinese Community Dancers, a troupe that performed across Canada. The highlight was successfully auditioning to perform on Parliament Hill in Ottawa for Canada's 100th birthday on July 1st, 1967. The dance troupe visited the residence of Governor General Roland Michener on this trip. After this performance, my mother was presented to Her Royal Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. My mother also reached out through Chinese food. This was at my parents' restaurant in Chinatown, the Kwong Chow restaurant. There she entertained politicians and other restaurant customers, introducing them to Chinese food, and along the way, helping to make Chinatown a destination rather than a neighborhood to avoid. By becoming active outside of Chinatown, she put a face on the Chinese community for the government, the media, and Torontonians. As a Chinese Canadian woman, she achieved many firsts, and among her many awards are the Frank Deck Award, the Governor General's Award, City of Toronto Award of Merit, and the Queen's Silver and Golden Jubilee Awards. But the highest honor was being the first Chinese Canadian woman to receive the Order of Canada. She also felt so honored to be a citizenship court judge who gave the oath of citizenship to hundreds of new Canadians. Quite a feat for someone who had been stripped of her citizenship when she married my father. Her legacy lives on with the annual Jean Lum Awards, now in their 20th year, and my mother attended for the last time in 2001. For our city's celebration of Canada 150, a poster of her was displayed in TTC bus shelters and at the entrance of City Hall. And last but not least, which is something that I just learned today, and I'm so thrilled to hear this, I learned that the new school that will be built by the Toronto District School Board at the Bathurst and Lakeshore will be named the Jean Lum Public School. So I just want to conclude, as a child growing up in British Columbia, going to segregated schools, being teased and mocked for being Chinese, not being allowed to venture out of Chinatown, she felt outside the circle of Canadian life. Throughout her lifetime, she broke down many, many barriers as a community activist, as a woman in a man's world, as a spokesperson. She lived to see the day when she and the Chinese community were no longer outside the circle, but an integral part of Canada's dynamic, multi-ethnic, and multiracial mosaic. Thank you.
Just want to make sure we're all set up. 2 mics coming, right? Great. We got a great team here. Okay. So next, I would like to invite Rob Fothergill to the stage, who's hailing from Toronto, York University professor. Rob Fothergill has written a play based on a Canadian ordained minister, Reverend James Endicott, who had preached in China.
The scene to be presented is a very short fragment from a script called Dragonfly, which dramatizes the career in China from 1925 to 1947 of the Reverend James Endicott. He was a an ordained minister of the United Church of Canada. Initially coming to China, he was following a missionary vocation, but he quickly becomes instead a language teacher and a passionate advocate for social and political reform. In the mid-1930s, when the Japanese invasion is ravaging parts of China and Mao Zedong is embarking on his long march, Jim Endicott meets with Madame Chiang Kai-shek, the wife of the nationalist president. Her New Life movement, as it was called, was promising social and spiritual renewal.
So for today's performance reading, I will be Mrs. Chiang Kai-shek, and our playwright, Professor Robert Fothergill, will be James Endicott. Then our two dancers, Shaquille Rolock and Shaylin Williams, will present their interpretation of this particular scene to you through the expressivity of dance.
Madame Jiang, it is extremely generous of you to agree to meet with me.
Governor Li Liu has told me what a generous friend you are to China. He praises you most highly for your honesty and your courage. We hope, Mr. Endicott, that you will agree to our earnest request, that you will put yourself at the service of China in this time of her great trouble. If we are to resist the Japanese invaders, we must give our people hope for a real progress towards democracy and social justice.
I would be honored to contribute in any way that I can.
I think you know that my New Life movement means to link the teachings of our own Christian faith with traditional Chinese virtues of honesty and courtesy. We mean to bring alive a whole new spirit to China, and we hope that you will promise to tell us frankly what you see and what you think.
Madame Chiang, this is truly a wonderful inspiration. China has been crying out for idealistic leadership, but can you really bring the people together in your New Life movement? What about the opposition from the communists?
Mr. Endicott, we have made a new alliance with the communists. We are fighting together on the same side against the Japanese. Some of my own staff are communists. So you see, we are putting old enmities behind us.
If this is true, you are truly the saviors of China.
So you will work with us.
What would you ask me to do?
You must tell us the truth. You must help us see corruption and injustice. Advise us as a friend and faithful critic.
Madame Jiang, you have my word.
as we set up for the next scene. Here we go. Right? Yes, okay. So, John Cage, American composer. His influences lay in various East and South Asian cultures. After his studies in Indian philosophy and Zen Buddhism, he wrote a book about music called Silence. His composition, 433, asks the musician to do nothing during the performance of the 3 movements. As you can see on the score, and Kanin's going to change the slide for me. Kanin. Yes, there we go. So, in fact, when the piece begins, musicians are asked to pack up their instruments. It's all part of the performance. So don't feel like it's concluding or it's done. You have the freedom to clap. You should really wait. Filipino writer Patria Rivera wrote a poem called Interpretation of John Cage's 433.
Interpretation of John Cage's 433. 433, or 4 minutes 33 seconds of silence, is a 3-movement composition by American composer John Cage. It is commonly known as 4 minutes 33 seconds of silence, and it was inspired by Cage's idea that beauty can come out of stillness. Please join me as I take on John Cage's invitation to enjoy things as they come, as they happen, rather than as they are possessed or kept or forced to be. .1 Interpretation of John Cage's 433, a seminal composition without a single note. Leave the stanza. Switch off the sound system. Read on. Okay, I'm depressed. I'm tired. Reverse. Leave the stanza. Disneyland left. Leave the paragraph. Get in the right frame of mind. Ask the musicians to turn the pages of the score sheets after each of the 3 movements. Switch off the emergency silence. .4 Interpretation of John Cage's 433. Thought he was adored father and best pal, avid angler waiting for the big one. Enjoyed his family, was cruel, spent more time cultivating his reputation. A collector fully loaded with antiques, filled his days, counting, looked at time through his dual zone watch, slept like a cuckoo. Switch off the emergency silence. Outspoken supporter of community values, walked to her bridge classes in darkness and all weathers to affirm the city is a safe and friendly place. She is remembered for many kindnesses. System, read on. He was cold. She was wise. They decided years ago that their remains would be donated for medical research and study. Their ashes interred in a common plot. Okay, I'm depressed. I'm tired. Rivers, leave the stanza. Disneyland left, leave the paragraph. Get in the right frame of mind. Ask the musicians to turn the pages of the score sheets after each of the three movements. Switch off the emergency silence. Thank you.
So at this time, I would like to ask Mushtari if she wants to set up with her ensemble, as I take the time now to acknowledge and give many thank yous, necessary thank yous, for this event to happen. We'd like to thank the major funders of the project, Canadian Heritage BCAH program, Canadian Heritage 150 Fund, the Search Connection Grants, Connecting for Canada's 150, and York University Canada's 150 Fund. I'd also like to personally thank Justin Poi and the Justin Poi Agency for sponsoring the reception afterwards. And the Asian Heritage Month organizers would like to thank Steinway Piano Gallery, Toronto, for sponsoring our beautiful Steinway piano. For over 160 years, Steinway & Sons have been handcrafting the world's finest pianos in Astoria, in New York, forgive me, and Steinway is the choice of over 70% of the world's concert artists. Did you know that? Including Lang Lang and Diana Krall and Yuya Wang, many, many others. So at this time, we'd like to conclude with Mushtari Afroz and her ensemble. They'll be presenting a dance based on the poetry of Asia's first Nobel laureate, Rabindranath Tagore, a poetry recited live in its original language of Bengali. Following this dance, we'll have pure instrumental music performed by Junaid Anwar and Mamunur Rashid. Is the stage just about ready? Yeah?
Very close.
Oh, very close. I will not be singing further. It's very cold in here. Did you guys find that? We're going to have to cozy up later at the reception. So as they set up, we'd like to give a warm welcome to Mushtari Afroz once again and her ensemble.
Before we start, I want to welcome you all in this session. And it may be difficult for you to understand the Bengali language because it is not, the poem was not written in the contemporary Bengali. It is like which we do not use nowadays. So that's why we try to use this translation. But just enjoy as like a song, the language you don't know. Thank you.
It's a dramatic entrance.
So we're waiting for that surprise.
that out. We thought it was part of the performance. Well, why don't you? Good grief! I didn't want to be disrespectful, you know. I thought maybe it's part of. It's like John Cage. You never know. You have to kind of wait and anticipation. That's part of the dramatica. Okay. Well, why don't you tell us more about this piece since we're waiting for.
So this poem is all about when the poem was written, the poet suddenly found that the dawn light, and probably he felt the what he was searching for, the inner freedom, and based on what this whole poem was written. So it was really we don't know actually like in what mental stage he wrote that, but probably it can be assumed that from this the lines that when he just saw the sunshine, something happened in the poet's mind, and then he wrote this poem.
And so in this instrumentation here, I'm assuming you're the soloist?
I will recite the poem, yes.
Oh, I see.
So I'm the vocalist here, and with me we have tabla player Mamun Rashid,
yes.
And our sitarist Sean.
Yes.
Yeah, so they will accompany, and we are trying to create a background. So we are waiting for the dancer Mushtari. Yeah.
Who I think is coming, trying to at least come through that door. Oh, no.
Just wait for it. It's a live performance, so.
We can have great view without
yes.
Yeah, I can play something else.
So while we're waiting, how many of you know anything about Indian classical music, which we played a little bit earlier? But how much about South Asian classical music does anyone here know? Just put up your hand if you know something about it. Put up your hand if you know nothing about it. Okay. So we have something called the Tal system, which when Mushtari was talking about dance and about mathematical practices, there's a little bit of audience participation I'm going to ask you to do to sort of communicate a little bit of what, Israel, please, to communicate a little bit of the challenges that we have as musicians, drummers, sitarists, and dancers. So I assume everyone can clap. I'm not going to get you to do anything that's embarrassing or that you will be on stage for, but everyone can clap, right? So with me, right? So I'm going to show you a method of clapping which is indicative of Indian music. 1, ah. 1, 2, ah. 1, 2, 3, ah. 1, 2, 3, 4, ah. 1. Now, if you understand the principle, 1, ah, 1, 2, ah, 1, 2, 3, ah, 1, 2, 3, 4, ah, 1. Right? It's always the cycle beginning again. Ah is an empty space. So that's pretty easy. So if we all do this together, 1, ah, 1, 2, ah, 1, 2, 3, ah, 1, 2, 3, 4, ah, 1. Okay, now we're going to clap together, and I'm going to speak. You're not going to speak the first time through, and I want you to see if you can catch what I'm doing, and you'll see a little bit about Indian music and the complexity of it. So together, I'll speak, you just follow me and clap. 1, ah, 1, 2, ah, 1, 2, 3, ah, 1, 2, 3, 4, ah, 1, ah, 1, 2, ah, 1, 2, 3, ah, 1, 2, 3, 4, ah, 1, ah, 1, 2, ah, 1, 2, 3, ah, 1, 2, 3, 4, ah, 1, ah, 1, 2, ah, 1, 2, 3, ah, 1, 2, 3, 4, ah, 1, 1, 2, ah, 1, 2, 3, ah, 1, 2, 3, 4, ah, 1, ah, 1, 2, ah, 1, 2, ah, 1, 2, 3, 4, ah, 1. Right? So, these are the kind of mental gymnastics dancers like Mushtari and musicians like Mahmoud Bai and I do. So just take that home with you and practice.
never going to see it. You're never going to be free. Never, ever.
I want to see the sunlight, please. Someone, please. Open it. Open it.
আজি প্রভাতে রবির কর কেমনে পশিল প্রাণের পর কেমনে পশিল গুহার আধারে প্রভাত পাখির গান না জানি কেন রে এতদিন পরে জাগিয়া উঠিল প্রাণ জাগিয়া উঠেছে প্রাণ ওরে উথলি উঠেছে বাড়ি ওরে প্রাণের বাসনা প্রাণের আবেগ রুধিয়া রাখিতে নারী থর থর করি কাঁপিছে ভূধর শিলা রাশি রাশি পড়িছে খসে ফুলিয়া ফুলিয়া ফেলিল সলিল গরজি উঠেছে দারুণ রোষে হেথায় হোথায় পাগলের প্রায় ঘুরিয়া ঘুরিয়া মাতিয়া বেড়ায় বাহিরিতে যায় দেখিতে না পায় কোথায় কারার দ্বার কেন রে বিধাতা পাষাণ হেন চারিদিকে তার বাঁধন কেন ভাঙরে হৃদয় ভাঙরে বাঁধন সাধরে আজিকে প্রাণের সাধন লহরীর পরে লহরী তুলিয়া আঘাতের পর আঘাত কর মাতিয়া যখন উঠেছে পরাণ কিসের আধার কিসের পাষাণ উথলি যখন উঠেছে বাসনা জগতে তখন কিসের ডর আমি ঢালিব করুণা ধারা আমি ভাঙিব পাষাণ কারা আমি জগৎ প্লাবিয়া বেড়াবো গাহিয়া আকুল পাগল পারা কে শালাইয়া ফুল কুড়াইয়া রাম ধনু আঁকা পাখা উড়াইয়া রবির কিরণে হাসি ছড়াইয়া দিবরে পরাণে ঢালি শিখর হইতে শিখরে ছুটিব ভূধর হইতে ভূধরে লুটিব হেসে খল খল গিয়ে কল কল তালি তালি দিব তালি এত কথা আছে এত গান আছে এত প্রাণ আছে মন এত সুখ আছে এত স্বাদ আছে প্রাণ হয়ে আছে ভোর জাগিয়া উঠিল প্রাণ দূর হতে শুনি যেন মহাসাগরের গান ওরে চারিদিকে মোর কি কারাগার ঘোর ভাঙ 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 কারা আঘাতে আঘাত কর ওরে আজ কি গান গেয়েছে পাখি এসেছে রবির কর
very diverse program that was cleverly compiled, I must say, by Karin. Oh, there's one more? Oh, forgive me. Well, look at that. It's actually an encore. You are the cherry on top. Forgive me.
Good evening, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'll be playing an instrument which is known as dotara. It's mainly used for the folk and baul song in Bangladesh and some part of India. However, today I will be trying to play some classical pieces based on rag Vairav. You know, the ragas are the structure of Eastern musics, which defines some properties of a particular tune, which notes to be used, which are not to be used, which part of the day it should be sung or played, like those properties of some tunes. And Rag Bhairavi, it's one of the most ancient and most captivating ragas in Hindustani music. And followed by that, I will be playing a small piece of folk tune based on a song by the most renowned folk singer of Bengali history, Mr. Abbas Uddin. Thank you all. It takes some time for retuning the instrument because it was being played at a different pitch previously, but now he's lowering the pitch by half note. That's why. But Ramana Rashid, he's a very good friend of mine, and you have so far enjoyed some of his performance. But now is the time that you should be really enjoying his playing. Thank you.
That part was some mixture of music and dance together, so sometimes it's very hard for our listener to focus exactly which side, music or the dance, as it is something performing on behalf of the audience, so the dance is most attractive for the people. But here, we'll do only for the music, so you can focus us. It's good. Thank you very much.
So it's really over, right? I can officially say that we've come to a sad conclusion of our Asian Heritage Month presentation this evening. Well, it's been very, very great to have everyone here. I must say, in the last, the 3 years ago was my first encounter with Asian Heritage Month, the event in May, and it's grown immensely. So to see all your faces and for you to come out here and experience a lot of different cultures and just open your ears and eyes to this event, it's just such a blessing. So thank you so much for being here. I also want to let you know that this is actually not the end because there's food. Yes. There is food. Oh, I can hear your tummies grumbling already. Their food is officially catered by Pearl Harbor Restaurant, for those of you who are familiar with Pearl Harbor. So please join us. Come chat with us. I ask that you join us at the reception because there's actually an opportunity, not just awkwardly, talk amongst yourselves, but you can also talk with the artists. If there's any questions you have to the composers or the people who are present here, please don't feel intimidated to speak with us. We'd love to share our culture with you, and maybe you have something to share with us too. So thank you once again. Please give us a big round of applause for everyone involved with this, including our stage management and people who've set it up. Thank you so much, and see you next year. Okay?